Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V, and thanks for watching. I had the pleasant experience of re-watching some portions of Superman Returns yesterday. My little nephew was over, and even though he really hasn't seen much by way of Superman, there's no current cartoon on, he's only 3 years old, and his father isn't particularly a Superman fan. His father likes superheroes and superhero movies, but wasn't a fan of the original Donner films and was not a fan of Superman Returns. However, he puts his son in Superman shirts, and he bought him the exact same pair of Converse All-Star sneakers that I have, and he seems to like Superman, but knows very little about him. So I put it on, and I wanted to show him some of the exciting action scenes that a 3-year-old might like, and I found myself really enjoying those parts again myself. Partially, I was inspired by, I was playing my iPod in the car earlier in the day, and one of the orchestration pieces from Superman Returns came on, and it got me thinking I should put the movie in. And obviously, we all know it underperformed at the box office, and they did not move ahead with a sequel. But I've said before, and I'll say it again here, I think that Superman Returns, especially having watched it again yesterday, really, in my opinion, is the best cinematic effort for a Superman film that we have seen. The Donner films were what they were for their time, but they were a bit silly, they were campy, and there wasn't really a lot of depth or character. And when we've only have Superman Returns to judge on right now until Man of Steel comes out, and of course, Returns was meant to be kind of an appendage to the Donner films. If 3 and 4 didn't exist, this was Bryan Singer's idea of what might have happened in the third Superman movie if Superman had impregnated Lois and gone away to find Krypton, which it was left out of the story, but Lex Luthor had a big part in chasing Superman away because he implanted stories all over the media explaining that pieces of Krypton had been found and that there was a good chance there were living survivors. So Superman felt that he had no choice but to go. I was dubious when I had heard all these announcements because I always felt like Superman would never leave Earth for that long a time. He's in love with Lois. He loves the planet. It's his home now. And to leave for 5 years. However, maybe he got hung up. Maybe some things happened while he was out there. Maybe he didn't expect the trip to take that long. We don't hear much about it, which I think is a mistake in the film. But I remember the excitement leading up to it. I remember how happy I was to be seeing a Superman film. And I thought Brandon Routh was a perfect choice. He wasn't given a lot of dialogue, but the emotion that was exhibited by him and by the character because of the whole son storyline, which again, a lot of people were up in arms about because maybe we don't need that in our Superman stories, but it did bring a lot of complication, a lot of story and character development and work and emotion that might not have been there otherwise. Could the movie have been good without it, and might it have been more successful without it, at least in fans' eyes? Possibly, but upon watching it, it brings so many emotions to surface. I teared up during the end speech again yesterday, where he took Marlon Brando's Jor-El words and turned them around on his son now. And he was very, very protective at the end there. And while there could be a question as to why he was in there when Lois didn't even know about it, he is Superman, so I guess he could do that. Another argument that I always hear is that he's Stalker Superman because he flew down in the trees and was checking out Lois. However, if you're a follower of Superman and you know what's been going on, you know that since the earliest incarnations of a relationship between he and Lois, he has always checked in on her. He has always made sure she was okay. He has always spied on her in that fashion, whether it's listening from a distance, whether it's watching what she does, whether it's showing up anytime she needs him. It's because she's on the front of his radar, front and center. I mean, she's the one that he's going to look out for most. And once he has the son there, he was emotionally compelled and driven to go in and check on him, much like they went to check on him in the hospital when he was asleep, and they gave speeches to him and talked to him. I love the added depth and the added character. It is odd, and when you're first viewing it and when you first hear the rumors, you go, they're going to make this kid. My hope was that all the rumors were going to be unfounded and that it wasn't, or that somehow the piano shifted because of crystals growing, or because there was a quake, or because, and we were going to find out later that it wasn't the child that had pushed the piano, but that it was meant to look like it was. However, when you look at it as just a film critique and not necessarily a Superman fan, I think that they went the not cop-out route by doing what they did. They made a deep, complicated human story, even though it was about a superhero who's not human, and had so many human ties and human connections and emotions that it really worked for as a film, not necessarily as a Superman film, if you want to go that way, because, you know, but it brings so much extra depth to the character that wasn't there before, which, again, a lot of people argue, was that even needed? We have a lot of depth of character that no one's ever explored, and that everyone has such a hard time presenting on screen in a story. But I really enjoyed the film, and I thought that the Superman action in it was the best we've seen. The way they used his powers, the way he was shown. Sure, some of the CGI effects were evident, because a lot of times Brandon Routh looked like a CGI computer animated model, because I think that they ended up not having enough time to finish some of the effects or whatever. But I thought it was great, and Lex was ruthless and really evil and dark. There was still some camp there, which I hope we lose completely in the next incarnation of Superman films, starting with Man of Steel, and hopefully that's really successful. And I really hope that come this time next year, I'm able to tell you how much more I love Man of Steel than any Superman film that we've seen so far. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.